There's plenty time forevermore, and the warmth will never leave. Take me away. Take me away. Take me away.
That's a wrap. Okay, Lon. Let's see here. Well, we're at Robert's place, and he's gonna give us some information about buying land and building in the Philippines. It's not as easy as you might think, but that's the purpose of this video.
Yeah, hi you guys, I hope this is going to be helpful. I guess everybody's experience is different with these things, and I suppose I'm kind of going to be unique, but there are things in about buying here which is probably consistent throughout the whole of the Philippines. I can just give you a bit of a background. We bought land here about 3 years ago and came across a lot which was for sale, and at the time I didn't have money for it, so I kept saying no, and when I was ready to buy, the guy who was selling was very eager to sell, and I think that's the key thing really, because he actually dropped his price maybe by half to secure the sale. So we got the land, which was 1,200 square meters, for very cheap for this area, around 150 per square meter, which land here now is around 2 to 3 peso, which in dollars I guess is, how much is that in dollars?
I'll put that in the video down below, how much that is per acre that you ended up.
So we got the land, rice land. It's up in the mountains, and it's you'll see maybe from the video, it's a beautiful spot. It's very cool up in the mountains, so we got the land for a good price, and then I went about the process of designing and getting the house built.
So, in order to buy land in the Philippines, there's some hoops to go through, because the foreigners are not allowed to own land in the Philippines, but there's some interesting things that you found that you can do to try and get around this.
Well, this is the the issue, which some foreigners have come through and found themselves in a position where they've had to walk away from their properties when their relationships have gone sour, for example. So what you've got to think about is really getting some kind of documentation which gives you not the right to the land, but maybe the right to sell in the future if you want to. So that was my main interest, really.
So you can't own the land, but maybe you can own part of the land, but not 100% of the land?
Well, you can never actually own it. I had the land put in the name of a trusted friend, and at the time I didn't know Joanna, my partner, well, so we didn't really, and we were advised not to tie up our relationship with the land. So at the time it made sense just to have the land in a friend's name, and to draw up a document which should in the future I want to sell, I could do.
You can sell, but you don't own the land. So, you know, this is, I have heard, and I don't know if it's correct, that a foreigner can own land as long as he doesn't own the controlling interest, but you're not familiar with that.
Yeah, I don't really know about, all I know is the ownership is not possible. You can own condominiums and things like that.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, but I think you can own the house, but not the land. But
You got a lawyer,
I got an attorney, yeah.
and he told you that you can write something in there that says you decide when this land is sold.
If I want to, I can say to the owner of the land, I want to sell this property, and she can't, in theory, maybe it will be tested out if I ever want to sell it. In theory, she can't say no. The house is built on my land. You can't sell the property.
And if she sells it, do you get money from it?
If she sells it.
Yeah, you tell her to sell it.
Oh well, she is only really an owner in name. She's just agreed to let me do what I want, basically. She says if at any time in the future you want to sell it, Robert, just go ahead. And the attorney said, well, we'll draw up a document to say that you can do that. I can show your viewers the document, maybe, if that's helpful.
Okay, so then the bottom line is you need a person here, if it's not your wife or somebody else that you can trust that is Filipino, to put their name on it.
Yeah, you've got to.
So that's step one.
That's definitely step one, and you've got to make sure. I would say that what you're buying is you're buying it from somebody that there's evidence that they actually own it, and it's not
So
somebody
who
else's.
you buy from matters a lot too, because there's a lot of
There's a lot.
there's a lot of my daddy owned
Yeah.
this in 1812, and I think
Yeah.
I have a piece of paper somewhere.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it does make
so-
it does make a difference that the land is titled to somebody, so that you can.
So you need a lawyer for that also, to make sure that it's real land.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that's the land side of it.
The price of land here can vary a lot, and if you're not anxious, you might be able to find a better buy. We have a friend that
There's a lot
was
of
a little bit anxious and spent a little bit too much, and now he can't find a buyer. But
yeah. There's a lot of land agents around. Filipino guys or girls will say, "Oh yeah, I'll show you around." They'll take a commission out of. Selling you land, so you can always find someone who's happy to show you around and find land. And most, just by just being in an area making inquiries, people will say, "Oh, this is up for sale. This is up for sale." And I think a lot of areas at the right price, most people, you will find land in an area you want to buy. And comparing it to the States or where I come from in the UK, land prices even at 3 to 5k is dirt cheap. So you're getting land at a very reasonable price.
What I've noticed is that as soon as people got word that I married a Filipino, they would come to me and say, "I've got land for sale. Would you like to buy my land?" But I've never found that to be at a bargain price when they're coming to me like that so much.
No. You've always got this problem as a foreigner here, that they expect you to be loaded, and so they'll attempt to get premium rates out of you, premium price.
So you bought more land than you needed, and then you sold some off to some other people that were building, and that helped with your expenses. But
I did. I bought more land than I needed, and by that time I'd made friends here who were renting in the nearby town of Naval, and it was a goodwill gesture really to offer them some land to in the future put a house on this big site. So I had no reason to want to keep it all for myself. So it seemed the right thing for me to do at the time. Yeah.
so you got 2 stories, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a swimming pool, a deck above.
Yeah, we've
Area outside.
we've got a little area outside for a nipper hut style.
But you got that too. I was just looking at your little porch. It's connected to the house, but you got the nipa hut outside too. Yeah.
Yeah, we went for a modern style, and 2 aspects we had to consider really in the design was earthquake proof and typhoon proof. So
that's good.
So you have to make sure your roof's not going to blow off, and that it's not going to shake itself and get great cracks in it when an earthquake hits. So you have to kind of prepare for the worst in the Philippines when you're doing the design. But yeah, this is quite a modern style house. In a way, it's the key thing in a house, I think, is to be able to stay cool in the daytime. And we've got some aircon, which is expensive to use, and we do use it a little bit. But you just need to get a cool breeze blowing through a house to keep cool.
This is the key to building in the mountains. It's cooler. You don't need as much aircon.
Yeah. You see Mitch down on the coast there. He swelters when that's why he comes up here.
My aircon runs all the time.
Yeah. So he pays through the nose for his electric bill, whereas mine's a bit cheaper than his.
Yeah. See, this which is amazing. This house of his is what's your electric bill?
Yeah, my electric bill is just under 4K.
Okay, he's got
Sometimes.
$80 a month. He's running a swimming pool out there. He's got the refrigerator, aircon when he wants it, $80 a month. I have a smaller place, no swimming pool. And I run about 6K, which is about $120 a month, which is not a big deal if you're back in the States, but for here, that's one of the larger expenses, which is saying good things.
So maybe your viewers want to know about how you actually the process of building the house in terms of whether you do everything yourself or whether you subcontract, and that's a decision.
And finally, you said you had a plan to get a builder, because the builders here, I've never seen one licensed yet, you know, they just carry a hammer and a saw and, they build, okay? They say, I'm a builder, and they build. So you went around and you talked to several builders and...
Well, I met a friend in the church where I go who, he's actually a nurse, so he's not an expert builder, but he, for his sideline, he and his wife, who is an engineer and architect, actually take on building projects. So I met him, and he showed me 4 or 5 of the building projects he's done over the years, and that's what made me interested in using him, because I saw the quality of the work. I thought, yeah, if he's building this sort of, getting this sort of stuff built, he's obviously doing something that
He's qualified to use a little of your money.
yeah. So I went for a fixed price deal. So I knew how much I could afford, and we agreed the price beforehand. So I didn't want the prices to escalate through by just having an open kind of contract. And then he took care of everything really. He site managed the whole project. His wife was the architect, and they worked together on it. If there's a problem, we would just discuss it. Interestingly, she had to move to Canada to work for a better income for her family. So she was actually managing the architect side of it from abroad, while he was actually the guy on the ground. And I was in the Philippines while it was all happening, so I wasn't having to do any of this from England. So I was coming up most days to check the quality of the workmanship and stuff like that. And if I didn't like things, we could talk about it before it went too far.
And another thing that I know is important here is when you find a builder, you need someone who understands English well. Everybody knows a little bit of English, but it's easy when you say, I want my ceiling this high, and come the next day and it's this high. Because that's the standard for short Filipinos.
Yeah, I mean...
So you found someone you could communicate with, and that's important.
Yeah, if the guy didn't speak English and he spoke with my project manager spoke really good English, I think we would have had issues all the way through. And he had a good way of managing what was really a team that he'd got together of trained painters, trained build brickies and carpenters. So he had 4 or 5 skilled workers and 3 or 4 labourers. So I guess he had about 7 or 8 people working on site most of the time, and specialising in the things they did best. And he would pay them the going rate, which here is anything from $3.50 per day to $5.50 per day, depending on their skill level. So,
which translates into the $5.50 is about 11 American dollars
a day
for
a skilled worker.
and the other is
$7 or $8.
Yeah, maybe not that much.
Maybe not that much, no.
But, and so how long did it take them to complete this?
Well, yeah, I did it as quickly as possible. So it was from beginning to end. It was 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then another 3 months for the pool. So that was the secondary phase. And the pool was done with extra thick concrete. he actually, I took a risk with the pool because he wasn't a pool specialist. But I didn't want to break up the team because in what tends to happen if you finish a project and you say, oh, I'm done, then all the workers disappear and you never get them back again. So I wanted to, I took a risk and got him to do the pool project as well. And he was it was a bit of a learning curve for them as well, about making sure that everything was strong enough for the earthquake eventuality. But so far, it's all good.
So it took you about 9 months and a little more for the pool, and then what's the cost? That you wanna-
Yeah, the original cost of the house was 3.85 million,
Okay.
and then we had 2 extra costs, which worked out, which was the perimeter fencing, which was only partial, and the road to the main road. We had to add those, so that was another 500,000. So it ended up at I think about 4.3.
4.3 million
That's not including the pool, which was 500,000.
with the road and the fence, and I'll put what that really equals
Yeah,
in American dollars down there.
pool was 500,000.
And that's not the land was
The land
different,
was
we
separate,
talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the land was separate and very cheap for this area. So we got very fortunate with the land, really. Yeah.
So, what I want to do is take a quick shot from your balcony, because we're, what would you say, 4 miles from the ocean?
Yeah, probably about 3 or 4 kilometers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Okay, 2.5 miles, something like that from the
Yeah.
ocean. But you can see the ocean from his balcony and then the mountains, and I want to kind of show you the spot from that quick up there so you get an idea. And
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot for sure. Right in the middle of the rice fields. There's always something to watch outside. The rice farmers.
you get the rice farmers and the
Yeah,
water
working
buffalo
there.
over
It's,
there.
yeah, it's great. And Mitch comes up here sometimes for the sunsets, so I go down to him for the sunsets, and we enjoy that, don't we? Which is a
I come
great
up for
time
the
to do.
beer.
So, yeah. Well, I hope